Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I thought I'd record a video based on what to expect within your first few weeks at your first school placement. Big apologies just first off to start about the uploads the last few weeks. I did have a problem a few weeks ago with uploading due to my internet, and then unfortunately last weekend I wasn't very well, so if I am still nasally you can kind of expect what's wrong. So real big apologies for that first of all, but I thought I'd create this video today because for most of you, you'll be in the midst of being given your first school placements, or you've just started your placement, or you're about to start. Some of my big top tips for the first day would be dress code. Keep it smart, keep it presentable, just play it safe. I would just play it safe. Don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean you have to be boring, and I'm going to create another video based on what to wear as a PGCE student in another video. But what I mean is some obvious cues. For instance, girls not wearing leggings. Most schools don't allow leggings. Don't get me wrong, there might be some schools that allow it, but I would just play it safe for the first day not to go in with leggings. And for guys, usually there is an expectation for you to be wearing a suit, which includes a tie. So I would again just play it safe, going with suit and tie, and then within the first few weeks you might find out that you don't have to wear a full suit or you don't have to wear a tie, but these are just some given dress codey tips for you to be thinking about. Also, make sure you get there within good time. You don't want to be turning up your first day being late, and we all don't like to admit it, but first impressions really do matter. So if you're walking in 20 minutes for your first day, really regardless of the issue, unless it is extreme circumstances, it doesn't get you off onto a good start. So it's better to be sitting in the reception or the staff room 20 minutes early rather than turning up 20 minutes late, because your first day you'll have lots of information given to you. In regards to the first day to what to expect, don't expect to be teaching on your first day. It won't happen. It most likely shouldn't happen unless you've been contacted before about this, but I really highly doubt that your school will turn around on the first day and be like, hey, come on, you're teaching 4 hours today. But what you will be expected on that first day is you'll be expected to be there for the full day, the full school day, because you'll be going through safeguarding checks, document checks, meeting staff, meeting departments, and possibly even observing your department or your year group or your class during the school day. Even though it feels like a lot of information the first day, I assure you, you will get used to it. I had 2 school placements, for instance, where the school timetable, so the school day, was very different, and the teachers will feel the exact same. Sometimes the teachers, it takes them a few days who actually work there to get their heads around it. So of course it will take time, and a lot of information they're delivering to you, again, it will take time to process, but just make sure you are noting things down like important information in regard to the school's values, or school dates are coming up, or things they're expecting to see, or documents they're expecting you to have by a certain date. What to expect within your first week is, I would presume that you will be in observations for your first week. Not you being observed, you observing with the teachers. Why? There'd have been no way I could have started teaching in my first week. No way. Because you don't know the kids, you don't know the classrooms and the classes, and you need to get your heads around the way the school runs during that week anyway. So you'll be expected to observe your teacher, if that's your personal tutor in practice, or other teachers within the department, or even other teachers in other departments, so that you can see how a variety of teachers, different practices, might influence and help you when you come to teaching. Also, this is a big thing when it starts coming to evidence. And also with evidence, you won't be expecting that first week to be collecting loads of evidence, because unless you're teaching it, it's very difficult to do this. But what I would start to do in your first few weeks is you can put down evidence when you are observing other people, because you can quote how this is helping your professional practice. What you will be expected to do though within your first few days, few weeks, is you will be given your own timetable, so the classes you will be teaching, subjects, all that kind of thing, and you most likely will be expected to start creating your own schemes and your own lesson plans. The teachers are fully understanding. They don't expect you to go home in an hour and complete a scheme for a half term, because it's not doable. You haven't got the practice. And even me this year as an NQT, it might take me a full day to create a scheme, and that was when it was in the 6 weeks holiday. So they're not going to expect a scheme to be done overnight. However, if it's taken you 3 weeks and you still haven't completed one scheme of work, teachers are going to start turning around and being a bit frustrated, and this does have an impact, unfortunately, on how you get on during your PGCE and also your relationship with other teachers. What also to expect? I would expect, I expected when I went in, and this met my expectations, that I would be getting stuck in. Don't be expecting to just sit at the back of the classroom and just be making notes the whole time. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you just need to spend a whole lesson sitting at the back of the classroom and just observing. I did that. However, do feel free to get up and see what the kids are doing, have conversations with the kids. Most teachers will not mind this at all, as long as you communicated this with them beforehand, or as long as it is during a task whereby they're not doing a test, or whereby you are actually disrupting their learning. But by doing this, you're really able to get to know the kids' standards, start to create some of those relationships in the classroom, and getting to know names. Because when you start off in your class, you'll have, even if it's a class of 30, you're not going to know the kids' names within the first day. So these few weeks are really going to give you some tips about getting to know your classes. Another thing linking onto this, what you'll be expected to do in your first few weeks, is that you will be expected to make sure you have the information for the classes you will be teaching, because when you start teaching, you will be expected to show within your planning that you are catering for the children and the pupils that are within your classroom. Last things to expect. I've tried to give you some just generic tips about the first few weeks and your first half term. When you start teaching, you won't be teaching a full timetable. Now again, this might be different, but what I found is that at BCU it was 7 hours independent, so me solo teaching, and then 7 hours supporting. So because we went in as a 2, I was supporting the other PGC trainee. If you aren't together as a 2, you'll just have your 7 hours independent. And this does go up when you go into your second school placement. You shouldn't really be teaching what I would expect in your first placement any more than half of the school timetable at a very, very maximum. Because even as an NQT, when you go and when you finally pass your PGCE, you're not in a full school timetable anyway, that's reduced. So what your PGCE is scaffolding you to do is to start off on, say, 7 hours, then jump up to 14, 15, so then it isn't such a big jump when it's near enough with just a few hours extra, the same when you go into NQT, so you've been given that steady progress and practice. So that's what you should be expecting. You're not going to teach every single lesson, but you will be given a timetable and allocated some lessons that you will be expected to teach in. Last thing to expect within your first few weeks, expect to mark, expect to be at parents' open evenings, expect to do some extracurricular clubs, expect to stay at staff meetings. This is a big one that I found that I didn't have a problem with, but some people's views, because they weren't employed by the school, that they didn't have to attend staff meetings. Don't fall into that trap. You have staff meetings and you'll probably have PGCE trainee or NQT meetings that you'll be expected to attend as well. But just overall, within your first half-term term of placement, what to expect is, in a nutshell, you'll be doing a lot of what a teacher would naturally be doing, but not on such a big a scale. Be expected to be on time, be professional, and attend meetings you're supposed to be teaching, and expect to receive feedback based on your practice, and to be constantly working towards targets, because hey, no one's perfect. Even though I've passed my PGCE and I'm NQT, even when you go into your NQT year, you will have observations and you will be given targets. So hopefully this video acts as a little help and guidance of just kind of some basic rules and basic guidelines about what to expect. I am in the process of creating other videos. I have had some recommendations on teachers' dress code, what I'm going to be creating a video on, evidence folders, PDP folders, and all that kind of thing, what I am in the process of trying to record. But again, thank you very much for staying tuned to my channel. Please subscribe and please like my video so I can know that these are helpful to someone or anyone out there, and I hope everything's going well for you, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.